me just switch over to Discord real quick and make sure that everything's running. Let's see here. It's running there. It's running there. Okay. Huzzah. Everything's actually working for a change and no screw-ups. Surprise.
Nice.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, everybody. It's Kaiju K, Juggernaut Jared, Rebel Vandy, possibly Subliminal, and I believe that's... Is that Rebel's mom? Rebel's mom?
Hi, I'm fucking... Oh my god. It's like my sister for all intents and purposes.
I didn't say... My apologies. My apologies. I was going to say you look too young to be the mom anyway, but still...
Well, no, before you said something, my mom was like, you got gray hair. I'm like, the fuck do I do?
Oh, don't worry, I got plenty of them. I got plenty of them. They're here and here. They're all
I got a dog who is white in her fur, and I got her under my bandana. I'm Blackheart, by the way. Hi.
Hello, Blackheart. Welcome, welcome. Oh, my sister changed her picture.
Thank you. Yeah, you always hear me in the background laughing in the comments. They said, why don't you join us? I said, if they like me.
We like everybody.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm the one everyone hates. All right, let's see here. All right, so
what
anyway.
What it is I need to die all this shit again.
Tonight's live stream is about a wonderful thing called ghost hunting. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen Ghost Adventures and Paranormal Reality and possibly Juggernaut's 3-part series. But, originally we were going to be doing something else, but seeing as several of our members decided they had to go to a party, we're just going to do this instead. So, first of all, before we start this up, I got to say one thing. One thing that has always upset me about ghost hunting is they go to a place like, say, I don't know, Indonesia, to like a 1910 imprisonment camp, and then they start speaking to the ghosts in English. Like they expect the ghosts to understand fucking English.
Well, apparently dead is a universal language anyway, so...
I'm just saying, like, if you're Indonesia, learn the dang language, speak Indonesian. It just sounds like it would work. I don't know. If you come up to me and start speaking to me in Canadian, I'm going to swing because I don't know what you're saying, you know? If I were a ghost, I'd be like, what the hell's he saying? I'm going to hit him with something.
English Canadian or would it be French Canadian?
French Canadian.
I was going to say, there's different dialects in Canada.
Yeah. French Canadian is confusing because even the English sounding part of it sounds French.
Oh, I'm sorry, by the way, that's Mama.
Hello. If you can see this horrible creature before you, hello. What? What are you saying?
No, there is.
Speak Russian, English, or Japanese. I understand those. Keep poking him, he's gonna bite you.
There's what?
The Discord group that I'm part of that actually watches our live streams.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Now, I'm pretty sure everyone who's watched this has had some kind of viewing or some kind of experience with the supernatural. It's anything from a Ouija board to a Luigi board. Whether it was ghost hunting or being hunted.
I don't have a connection with supernatural.
It's me, Luigi!
My property is a literal, phenomenally ghost spot.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So we're talking. Now, I know that we've also all been part of some ghost hunting expedition at least one time amongst the group here. I'm not 100% sure about everyone watching, but we've all done at least one thing here and there. By the way, that's Mama Bear back there. You can see her laying down back there. Now we're not talking about pit bulls and parolees here, although I do believe that's a haunted show. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about, have you ever thought of maybe making a show or making a video up of it? Or what were some of your favorite shows that were part of it, favorite moments? Personally, I'm a pretty big fan of the Ghost Adventures crew, but mainly to laugh at them. They're pretty comical, but they went to the Penhurst Asylum. They did like a 3-hour video of it. Like a 3-hour video of it. It was really amazing the stuff they caught. Stuff that you can't prove. And then there's still people that watch it going, bah, I don't believe in the paranormal. If I don't believe in the paranormal doesn't believe in you either. It's like walking up to somebody and saying, aliens don't exist. So you're saying the rest of the galaxy's empty and there's nothing up there, just us? You know, there's something. They may not have landed on this planet, but there's life out there somewhere. You gotta understand. So, as far as ghost adventures, ghost hunting, ghost gadgets, gizmos, man, Boo-tiful from, you know, what do you think? What do you think is some of your favorite? Sorry, I'm spraying a demon spawn. So, Chuggernaut, would you care to explain an experience or a show or anything?
I mean, what was I really saying? I was with two roommates at the old Weatherly Cemetery. We got chased by something at the paranormal, and there was claw marks in the paint underneath the clear coat.
That's pretty spooky. Did you attempt communication?
I'm sorry, but if something's chasing us away from the Weatherly Cemetery, it's best not to try and communicate.
I'm sorry, I'm pretty talkative when I'm being chased by someone. Get the fuck away from me, you son of a whore! Anyway, just throwing out there, if I'm being chased by something, I'm going to be very verbal. As verbal as humanly possible. Or inhumanly, depending on what is chasing me. How about you, Miss Rebel Venetillo?
Went to the Weatherly Cemetery as well multiple times. A friend took my picture there, or ex-friend, I should say now, and when we looked back at it, it was not my face in the picture.
Oh! Who was it? Betty Boop? Wonder Woman?
No.
The Green Lantern?
No.
You see,
My face like more.
You should always ask for consent before taking pictures in the Spookland, alright? Spooks don't like you just randomly taking pictures. Speaking of spooky things, subliminals here, everybody! I see his mouth open, but I cannot hear him. Someone pull a string.
No, after I think he might need his batteries changed.
Does he need batteries changed?
Yeah.
As Deathgasm constantly makes jokes about he needs more pot to power up his THC cells. Now, whether or not that's true, it's not against me. I was once a purveyor of pot. I did enjoy pot. I will state that to the record. It's probably one of the greatest things I've ever had. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about spooks. So, Subliminal, since I can't hear you, maybe you could mime something that happened to you that was supernatural.
I showed up.
Oh, wait, I can hear him now. I can hear him now.
Yeah.
I was chilling at an old ex-friend's house in their garage and shit, and I felt a cold breeze in a specific area while the whole place was hot. We took a picture. There was an oil floating behind me. People say from heat, but, you know.
Were you standing in front of the refrigerator? That can be a cold breeze. I've had that happen before. I call it supernatural.
It was more near the fridge.
All right. Well, I mean, so we've all had some kind of... No, keep going. Keep going. I did not mean to interrupt.
Well, no, you're good, man. You're good. Like I said, there was an orb in one of my pictures on my old Facebook. Some people say it was because of the heater and everything. It's believable, I mean, yeah. But at the same time, you had to be there to experience the feeling what I'm taking out.
Mom Bear, would you like to share a moment?
Oh my goodness.
A moment, not 530 of them.
Let's see here.
The most supernatural thing that ever happened to me is this beautiful woman decided she'd say yes to dating me. It's pretty supernatural right there. Love the specs, by the way, Jed. I love those new glasses.
Thanks.
The one that was most memorable for me was the place that I was living at when I first started dating Raju.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
We're going on 21 years.
I know. I had went to bed the one night and I had my phone on the charger. Well, I woke up to some random pictures in my phone. I have no idea where they came from or any of that because my phone was turned off.
Ah, that's pretty spooktastic right there.
And it was a picture facing my bathroom window.
Ghost selfies.
Yeah, literally.
Be careful of the ghost selfies.
Literally. There was a picture of a spirit, I believe was a spirit, going from one side of, because it was like a series of pictures, it went from one side of the window all the way down to the center, and then it just disappeared.
Oh. So that's why she passwords her phone now. It's not because of me. Ghost selfie! 38 pixels. Ghost selfie! Now, I'm not trying to make jokes out of this and everything because these are serious events. These are serious things that have happened to people. These unmistakable, unexplainable moments in life where you feel kind of crazy to talk about them because you feel that people are going to look at you like you're absolutely, completely nuts. And for me, I am. I mean, the military won't take me back for my level of craziness. So, I mean, I can personally say I'm crazy. And I got paperwork backing it up. Y'all are behind me. Y'all need to catch up. Juggernaut's with me. Juggernaut's got paperwork.
Yep.
Okay, first of all, Juggernaut, you see that thing right there? You see that thing right there? I would not cross that thing. Okay? That's spookier than the picture. That bridge is spookier than the picture down there, all right? Especially at night. You know, there is something in the back there, though. It looks like, that's interesting. Looks like there's some dude standing off to the left. Or dudette, for that matter. Or whatever they pronounce themselves to be. You know, nowadays with genders and everything like that, you don't know what anybody is anymore. You know,
They were two Confederate soldiers.
Okay. Hey, you know, sometimes you gotta take a second look, you know? Let's see. The worst moment in my life, now I don't have a problem saying about this because everyone knows I'm crazy, so even if they say, hey, that's crazy, I don't believe you. It really doesn't bother me anymore, but back in the day when the TMOG Sanitarium was a showboat, if you will, where they had the nightly encounters. You used to be able to pay $12 to get walked through the place at night, and then they'd go walk in a cell in the end, and they just pretend to walk away, you know? This was kind of weird, though. I was walking, and I felt something wasn't right. It felt cold. It just something wasn't right, you know? And they finally got me to this cell, and they were talking about all the cells and everything like that, and they're like, people constantly hear screaming from this cell, and they don't know why. And I walked in, and they closed the door. I'm like, oh, okay, guys, ha, 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 very funny. I turned around, and 6-8 feet away from me was this young woman, about 11 years old, bright red hair, and a sanitarium jacket. I'm like, oh, okay, you're the one who's going to jump scare me and everything like that. She didn't have feet. That was my first clue that something was wrong. The second one was all the screaming I heard in all the other cells. So like, okay, this ain't right. So I turned around, I'm screaming, let me out, and I turned around and she was right behind me, and the cell door just opened. Now they had bolted this thing shut. It was one of them old-fashioned crock-clock bolts. It had opened, and I pushed the door open, and the last thing I heard was this voice going, thank you for letting me go free, a laugh that I cannot describe to you as anything other than the soul of Satan itself. And then suddenly all the coldness left. And 2 weeks later, they had to shut the place down because suddenly there was no paranormal effects going on. The TMOG Sanitarium is now no longer there. They tore it down. And to this day, I question, what exactly did I see? What exactly did I hear? Because it seems way too much of a coincidence
But it was there,
that something was there, and then it said, thank you for letting me go free, and then suddenly there was nothing in the place. That's probably the spookiest spook moment I've had. I don't truly enjoy going with spooks. If I were going to be a ghost hunter, I'd probably be the one who would be in the series, probably the least. You know, today we're going to bring out a Ouija board and try to something. No. What do you mean no? I mean no. But it's a Ouija board. I don't care if it's a Luigi board or a Waluigi board. No.
Waluigi board.
But we need you here. No, you don't. I'm going to be down the street.
What about a Wario board?
Listen, spooks are supposed to be respected. You respect a spook. You respect them. You don't do anything like opening up doorways to a dimension and saying, hey, come on in, everybody. No. Y'all can jump in. I'll be at the Taco Bell down the street. And when you guys start screaming over the intercom, I'll come rushing in. But until that moment, y'all can sit there with your little seance board there and start speaking to whatever spook happens to be in the room. And if it decides that it doesn't like somebody because of the color of their hair or something and starts body pressing people, I'll be enjoying myself a Nacho Belgrande, you know. I'm just... Help us! Well, crap, I gotta go. Or do I finish the nachos first? And I'm just running down the street.
More important.
What's that? Was that something?
Is that even a question?
What even a question?
You would be knowing you would be taking your time.
Oh no, I'd be running, but I'd be snacking on the nachos while I'm running. I had another weird moment. I was visiting a friend. For their sake, I'm not going to give out their name because, you know, that's not right. But her boyfriend and a whole bunch of people upstairs were playing with the freaking Ouija board, which, by the way, no. I told them they could play with it. I'd be downstairs playing Nintendo, and I was, with her younger brother. And they described it as they were playing with it, and then suddenly her boyfriend got picked up into the air by his throat. And he was being held in the air, being choked, and she screamed. So I came racing up the stairs, and they said the second my big clodhopper hit that top step and I turned, all the tension in the room dropped, he dropped, and the Ouija board spelled out goodbye real quick. So if y'all don't want it, I'll come kaiju style into that room and stop it from going on. But if y'all want to play with the Luigi board, and it lets it go, Mamma Mia, you can do it, all right? I ain't going to be part of that. The thing I do like, though, is those full spectrum cameras. I like those. Those look awesome. I've never actually... The best ghost hunt I ever did was with night vision goggles. The Eye-Clops. Still better than the U.S. military's version of goggles, too, by the way. And way cheaper. I'm sorry. I wore the United States military standard issue night vision. The Eye-Clops had better night vision. I think it was made by Nerf or something like that. It was like $20 versus $2,000. Anyway, long story short. And we went around with this EVP? Is that what it is? Electrical...
EVP, yes. Electronic voice phenomenon.
Yeah. I went around with one of those, you know, just... And they're like, stop in a room and talk. I'm like, sup? Y'all in here? And you can just hear my voice over the radio, and then you just hear somebody saying, hi. And I swear to you, to this day, there was no hi back, and it was a loud hi. Like, it was loud enough that I should have heard it and reacted to it. Now, I know I'm going deaf, all right? And Sub is gone. Oh, no, someone's gone. What the heck? We lost Rebel.
No.
The spooks got Rebel. Ah! This is like that dang Unfriended movie. We're slowly losing people. That's why we can see the sky in Sub's picture. Anywho,
I went down to the old jail in Jim Thorpe.
Oh, the one with the print on the wall? The handprint that doesn't go away?
The one where they actually filmed part of the Martin McGuire's movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they had a mock-up of the gallows with the nooses.
Okay. That's
kind
of creepy.
I looked up the nooses and I saw 3 people hanging there.
Well, that would have been enough for me to powder puff myself out of there. Smoke bomb! Now, I'm not saying I'm a coward, but I kind of like to be able to swing back at what's swinging at me, you know? The problem with spooks is if you swing at a spook, you're not connecting. If they swing, they can connect. And the last thing I want is to see somebody hanging supernaturally, because it's like, well, definitely can't save you. But yeah, my friends went in. I can't remember who they were. We were going into that tunnel that separates, man, what's that? Centennial
Centralia.
Centralia, thank you. It's the tunnel that separates Centralia from the rest of the world, or at least it used to. I don't know if it's even there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like these two little offshoots that went to these different rooms, like lighting rooms and everything like that. So we all took a different room, and that's what I heard. I heard a hello back. I'm like, hello, and I hear hello, and I'm like, I didn't hear that when I was recording it. And it wasn't that small, like a little handheld thing, and I'm holding it in front of me. If somebody said hello that loud, I would have heard it, which is why I think those EVP things are like the coolest thing. The multi-vision goggles, or so the ones that you see like infrared and night vision and everything, those are pretty cool, but I think they'd be better off used by like a military unit. And then there's this one thing I've been seeing recently on all these ghost hunting shows. I can't remember what it's called, but like it scans the room, and if it senses some energy, it like shapes it, so you get like a little stick figure looking thing dancing around. You know that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Honey, what's that called?
Yeah.
The Oh Goodness Okay, it's called an Oh Goodness Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but you know. Well, and I've seen some videos, and it's
Oculus.
The Oculus.
I believe.
No, that's the 3D thing you put on your head and play 3D games with. Yeah, okay, so it's the Oculus. And then there was this one other thing. It's another thing I can't remember, but like it's got like a whole bunch of little laser lights that shoot down the hallway. And like if something moves in front of them, you can see it moving in front of it, even if it's not there. That's a creepy thing. Because I've seen things that even the people on those shows don't see moving through those. It's like it's moving and shouldn't be moving. It's going. Speaking of people on these shows, is anyone sick of these people acting all super tough and then running away like little scared cowards afterwards?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, okay, oh, I heard a noise. I wonder what it could be. Well, there's no one else there. It could be a spook. Oh, I'm so scared. My heart's pumping. I'm peeing myself as I speak. It's what you do for a job. You know, firefighters keep running into fires, even though there's a fire, and they don't go, oh, what's this heat coming off of me? Just saying. Why do I smell burning things? You don't see that. The Ghost Adventures is full of it too. They're the ones that do it the most. They walk in, hi, I'm clairvoyant and I'm a ghost hunter. I've been doing this for 13 years, and it's like, everyone out of the house! Ah! And they just tear off running. It's like, did you see that? No, because you weren't facing it with your camera. Right there! And everyone turns and looks up into the dark shadows. There was something right there. Well, why didn't you have like some kind of like head-mounted camera so we could have all seen it? A GoPro ain't expensive no more, all right? That's what I'm saying. You get the helmet and the GoPro together for like $75 nowadays. Like, plus, it offers a form of protection in case something falls down on top of you from a freaking house that's rotting apart.
Right?
Or an asylum where the pipes are rusting and falling apart. Or a jail cell where things are known to be dropped from higher levels to hit people.
And what is up with going into these locations without a freaking respirator?
That's another thing. This place used to be a home for poisons and diseases and everything. I'm going to run in with my mouth wide open. And then I got sick for 2 weeks afterwards. Respirator. Goggles. Hard hat. Protection. If you're going into an abandoned building that hasn't been repaired since the freaking 1800s, try to think ahead here. You know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I know.
You don't go paintballing in a pair of thin shorts and a white t-shirt and nothing else. You will regret that situation.
Don't go play airsoft in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
That's right. You are going to regret the situation. This is like a soccer player running full speed at a linebacker from the freaking Dolphins. Okay? When he gets hit, he's not going to do a flop and pretend he's hurt. He's going to get hurt. Why? Because he wasn't wearing protection. Oh, this ghost has been known to push people downstairs. So get some protection. Now we're going to go in there in a t-shirt and shorts and a pair of slippery shoes. Oh no, I fell down the steps. The ghost must have pushed me.
This ghost has been known to push people downstairs. Where's the last place you want to be? 5 stairs.
You know, you can do an EVP at the bottom of the stairwell. You don't got to go up. And if you do, hey, you see that railing on the side? Why don't you hold it? Like I said, it's the equivalent of going into a football game with the old-fashioned leathers, okay? I don't care how big you are. If you get hit by a full-size linebacker wearing the old-fashioned gear, you're going to crumple. It's going to just, you're just going to fall. It's all about thinking ahead, planning and preparing. They never have a first aid kit on them. Why? They never have enough batteries. Why?
Knowing that spirits drain batteries.
Oh, yeah. Or my personal favorite. Okay, we have 500 items on this wall of ghost hunting equipment. So I'm going to take this. You take that. You take that. We're going to go in. Why don't we have this? Why didn't you bring it with you?
Now I want to play Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia is, hey, that's not fair. Phasmophobia is scary as it is. I played the VR version. That's even scarier. Hello, beautiful. What are you doing?
Getting something to keep my hands busy.
Hi.
Hi.
I can turn the camera off. Anyway, long story short, one of the things that always upsets me about these shows, and once again, I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but like, this is a place where people have been known to be scratched, attacked, have things hurled at them. Then bring something with you. Do you know how effective some riding pants and a leather jacket are? Those are pretty strong pieces of armor right there. I mean, obviously not going to stop a bullet, but like, if you get pushed down a flight of steps and you have knee pads, elbow pads, and a helmet on, it's going to do a lot less to you. And maybe wear things that aren't high heels and slip shoes. Just saying. Well, this ghost has been known to attack people while they're alone, so what we're going to do is we're going to leave Juggernaut alone in this room.
No.
That! No! If that ghost ain't brave enough to come out, I ain't going to do it.
That would be I'm out.
You know, our buddy here, he has a fear of spiders, so what we're going to do is put him down in the spider-filled basement. Why? No. Just no. There's a ghost out in this cemetery, so we're going to go around, but what we're going to do is we're not going to have any cameras on us. We're just going to carry voice recorders and no flashlights. Oh, fuck, I fell on something. Well,
That might have been the tombstone.
the ghost tripped me. No, it's called stupidity. Look it up. One of my personal favorites, it just happened recently. Mama Bear and me were watching it. Was Ghost Adventures. And this guy had been pissing off. There's supposedly a demon in this place. This guy had been pissing this thing off the entire night. Just day after day, like 3 nights straight, just calling it out and insulting its mother and saying it has a small pecker and everything like that. Like, basically just like demonic. Like, and he goes, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to this basement where it's been known to show up by myself with no night vision or anything like that. We're going to take off all the cameras that could watch me in case an emergency happens. I'm going to have just my camera on, and I'm going to curse out this demon until no one's squared. The rest of you guys can go into the other basement where he's not known to show up, and hopefully he'll come after you. He got picked up and hurled across the room and began screaming like a sissy. Guys, help me! Guys, help me! Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure the demon paid them off because they weren't exactly rushing to save him. Yeah. It was funny because, once again, in the name of God, I command you to talk to me. Oh, God, help me! Help me! Help me! What did you expect was going to happen? If you pissed me off like that, I'd tackle your ass to the ground, too.
My favorite is when they bring in one of their supposed experts who knows nothing about what's going on.
Okay. Speaking of that, let me just bring up something. As a member of the Wiccan faith, I gotta say something, okay? Fellow Wiccans, y'all don't gotta dress up like that shit, okay? Seriously. Y'all can wear regular clothes. I saw some guy who had reverse contacts in, his hair in white little curls, and a purplish satin robe with a goat skull attached to him, holding a frickin' branch of a tree with like 4 crystals stabbed into it. Dude, we believe you. We believe you. You don't gotta go that far. This is why we get picked on. You're making us look like fucking LARPers. Seriously, you gotta stop this crap, all right?
You don't need the
Oh, I can go one better.
Oh no,
If
please.
you really want to laugh at someone who claims to be Wiccan, watch the movie The St. Francisville Experiment.
Okay.
She goes around going, I love all the ghosts, and surrounds herself in a white light. She goes to the attic and she gets dropped through the floor.
Well, you may have loved all the ghosts. That didn't mean they loved you. Another one of my favorite ones is, this happened with ghost hunters. They went to this bar, and all these spooky things started happening. And the problem with these idiots, not the ghost hunters, but the idiots at the bars, they didn't realize that the guys that worked for this particular group, I'm not going to bring it up by name, they're plumbers and electricians and everything like that. So they started going around, and they found these were all being set up. They were all set up by the guys, and the guys were like, "Oh, well, I hope you don't have any hard feelings about us. We just wanted to disprove you guys." Motherfucker, you realize we are on national TV right now. Everyone's going to see this, and no one's going to believe you ever again. This place is no longer haunted because of us.
I think that was the same group that banned me from their chat on their website.
It is. That is the exact group. I just want to let you know. I don't want to bring up their name because they're one of the better groups, but like, we're here to prove ghosts don't exist. Even though we have both.
The way I see it, though, with a lot of the televised paranormal groups, they're all just in it for one thing: money.
I mean, not all of them. There are some out there that are desperately trying to prove it, you know? There's some groups out there
Right.
But a lot of them are just like the specific group, I'm not giving out names or anything like that, but they're like, one of the first things we hear is, we're here to prove that the supernatural doesn't exist. And we started this foundation because we both had supernatural things happen to us. Wait. Hang on. Pull back. You're here to disprove supernatural, and you started this because you both had supernatural things happen to you. That's like saying we set this fire so we could prove that it didn't exist because our houses burned down when we were children. Like, what? Y'all gotta get on the page here. No, it's getting dark. I hope Sub comes back for his phone sooner or later. It's gonna get dark over there. I'm slowly watching it get darker on his phone.
The weirdest thing, though, that I ever had happen to me, though, and it happened roughly 30 years ago this past July 4th.
Well, that wouldn't be you meeting me, but that was pretty weird.
No, that would be the funeral of my cousin.
That's not weird. This is
Well,
weird.
the strange thing is that I went to his funeral. Little backstory. Him and his friend made a homemade firecracker. It went off and got my cousin right in the neck.
I remember that. I remember you telling me that.
So I'm at his funeral. I'm sitting there, and it was like time stopped, and I saw the lid of the casket open. Him sit up, look at me, smile, turn straight back, and then lay back down and close the lid.
That is creepy. I will send you to Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Is he going to do his shower now?
No, I told him to wait on that.
Okay. Sorry, I had to pop that one up. Anyway. Yeah, but like, Okay, a lot of these paranormal groups are doing the thing that I feel is right. They're trying to prove or disprove things. And we don't even have to go to Ghostbusters. We can do other things like haunted locations or people that are looking for cryptids. And it's just like, you know, these fields get made fun of and they get laughed at. But, I mean, you can't prove everything. You know, try to disprove certain events and you just can't, you know. Ah! The ghost has appeared! Should I throw a Pokeball at it? Ah! Anyway. It's like, once again, trying to prove or disprove aliens. You can't really disprove aliens without evidence that there are disprovable aliens. You know, I've talked to some people. Now, there are three groups of people I don't like. People who muck with my friends and family, people who are religious fanatics, and people who are racist. I hate all three of these groups. If you're one of them, please make your peace. But I've spoken to religious people who have said, well, aliens don't exist because God doesn't state in the Bible that they exist. And I've turned and said, yeah, but it's been a long time since God said anything in the Bible. It's ended. It stopped. What happened? Why isn't he talking to people no more? Can you prove God? Well, no. I go, but can I disprove God to you? No, I can't. I cannot disprove your religion, and you cannot prove it to me. It's a belief. But when it comes to things like aliens, that's just scientific know-how. You know, you look up into the sky and there's millions of galaxies and millions of planets and millions of stars, etc., etc., etc. You're telling me ours is the only one that had a petri dish long enough to create something? Hell, they found bacteria on Mars. Disprove that. They found strains of bacteria on Mars that are not from any strain that has ever existed on the planet Earth. Disprove it. The evidence is there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I believe Area 51 has aliens in it? No, I believe that's Area 52. I believe Area 51 is just a big, giant, like, they're just down there playing ping pong and stuff like that. Like, you remember that scene in Forrest Gump where they're playing ping pong? That's where they were training right there. That's what that was. It's just so the idiots will eventually run up on the place and find out there's absolutely nothing in it. And while they're giving up, we're all laughing. It's like, I should have gone up one number. I wonder if there's an Area 69. I mean, not trying to make the joke about, oh yeah, but think about it, like, would you really want there to be an Area 69 with all the jokes that could be made? I think they'd skip it. I think there'd be an Area 68. I think there'd be an Area 70. I do not believe there'd be an Area 69.
And if there was an Area 69, it would be a world the anal probing happened.
Oh, I'm not going to visit that place. No, no, no. What about all the Bigfoot hunters? Guys, unless Bigfoot is a mystical creature, scientifically speaking, it cannot exist. Sorry. Nessie is based off of a plesiosaur, which means it has a surface to breathe. Sorry, guys. Once again. If they eventually catch it and find out that it had gills, then fine. Hey, joke's on me. We thought coelacanths died millions and millions of years ago, and now we're finding them off the coast of Britain. But the difference is that unlike a lot of these people who you just can't prove right or wrong, you can prove me wrong and I'll accept it. That's where the difference comes in. If you can prove me wrong, I'll step off of my high horse and be like, okay, you were right. Do the I told you so dance. Come on. Let's throw some stank on that. I want to see you bust some moves. All right? But, like, there's some people that are so hard-headed that they will never in a million years accept it, even if you throw evidence in their face. Perfect example. Two of my friends, once again, having an argument. One's very, very religious. One was very, very scientific. And their argument was over evolution. Friend A says, there is no evolution. God created all animals. The other friend goes, I can prove evolution to you. I can prove it wrong. So I got between them. I go, hey, I got a question for you. What if God invented evolution? And I walked away. And they just stood there, like, dumbfounded because they couldn't argue with me because there was no side they could argue with. Something to throw out there. But as far as spirits go, I've had spiritual episodes. I've had spiritual belief. Yes, I've seen things I don't want to talk about. I've seen things I do want to talk about. Can I disprove unicorns? Not really, because, you know, scientifically, what if a horse one day had a growth and it grew out to be like a horn? Maybe their skull was deformed and it grew out into a horn point, and that's why they saw unicorns. Like, kind of like how the light is. You see the light right above my head, Jared?
Mm-hmm.
Give it a second when the fan blows back up. Watch it. Looks like I got a unicorn horn. I don't. There's nothing there. It's an optical illusion. I'm just saying, is like, what if they found the bones of dinosaurs and that's what they thought were dragons? Except that on 7 different continents and 7 different areas that could have never visited them at that time period, at the same time, they found that these things, all these people had murals of the same creature on their walls. It was a scaly being with wings that could breathe fire, had claws, and usually had 4 limbs. Okay, it happened in England. It's in China, although their dragons are much longer. It happened in South America. It happened in Africa. You know, the United States has a version of it, and Mexico has a version of it. And they all have these carvings of them and everything from the same time period. But there's no way in hell they could have met each other and told this story. So where did these models come from? I used to think, oh, it's all about dinosaurs. That's what it is. They found dinosaur skeletons until I realized no dinosaurs in those areas look the same either. You know? So what did they see to make them think there was a dragon? What if there were dragons? Can you disprove dragons? No. Can I prove dragons? No. But I can really make you think hard about it, can't I? What about Mothman? Is he attracted to bright lights? Look, my unicorn horn's back. Oh, now I just need to find a pure maiden to ride me. There we go. There's the joke. There we go. But yeah, like all this supernatural, all these supernatural phenomenons and everything like that. And you gotta ask yourself, you know, like, maybe there is something there. You know, I've watched the Ghost Hunters, I've watched Ghost Adventures, I've watched all those different groups. I even watched Ozzy Osbourne's son had a series for a while, which is really pretty good if you watch it. But the question you got to ask yourself is, like, the things you see, are they real? Are they just a computer graphic? Hey, how's it going? Ah. Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there.
Yep.
You know, do a little bit of investigation. You know, if this was a Scandinavian colony, they ain't gonna understand crap you're saying if you're speaking in English or Italian.
Yep.
And yet they'll do it over and over again. We're looking for a ghost here. And the ghosts are sitting there going, what's going on here? These people are weird. We should just stay hidden. Tony! He just tried to run out the door. And then let's move a little more away from spooks for a while. Let's move on to those people that are looking for UFOs. Unidentified flying objects. So things like me drunkenly getting on top of a large rocket, letting it up Wile E. Coyote style would be an unidentified object. Until you identified it as a moron.
That's the thing. Every flying every object that flies is identified, unidentified until identified.
Exactly. So if you don't recognize a specific helicopter, that's technically an unidentified flying object. And if you can identify it as a helicopter, well, now it's an identified flying object.
Then you have USO.
USO. Unidentified
submersible object.
Ah. What about a USO? Oh, wait, you just said that.
Yeah.
Sorry. What about a UFO? Damn it. I can't find a way to make boats show up. An unidentified buoyant object? A UBO? An UBO? But, like, I mean, there are some videos that, like, okay, obviously this is a fucking plane or a helicopter. But then there are some where these things are doing maneuvers in the air that aircrafts can't do. And this evidence is shown to the public, and the public, it's nothing. UFOs are a hoax. Like vampires and a well-organized government. Yep, that's a hoax for us too in America. If y'all are watching from another country, we do not go after us. We are not responsible for the stupidity that comes out of their mouths, okay? if Russia or China or France or something invades my area, you don't have to worry. I ain't gonna fight back. Just remember, I'm not the government. The government's a bunch of freaking idiots. I only keep intelligent people around me. Don't want to shrink my freaking brain cells more than they already have been. But you were part of the government. Yeah, I was part of the government. I'm not part of it anymore. And that part of the government taught me a very important lesson. Never trust the government.
But you were part of the government. Yeah, it's called being discharged on medical reasons.
I was honorably medically discharged from the United States military. And the one thing I was told when I was packing up my bags, they looked at me and said, listen, that civilian branch of the government that the president controls and everything like that, never trust them. Don't trust them. And to this day, I still don't trust any of those bastards now. Just throwing it out there. We get Trump who comes into office, promises 111 things, and finishes 110 things. He just didn't build a wall. We get Biden in office who promises us 10 things, and so far, we're at negative 14 somehow. I don't know how he screwed up. Now, if they both run, oh, gee, well, who do you vote for? The crazy man who can't talk his speeches and has to be walked away before he says anything stupid? Or the man who has what I can only describe as a tribble on his head? They're both insane. We're screwed either way. That's third party right there. Start looking at third party at that point, all right? I'm just saying, you can't... It's like when frickin' Obama ran for office against, who did he run against? He ran against the second term.
Was it McCain?
Was it McCain? Yeah, it's like this. Who do you trust? The man who has tried his hardest, I mean, he may have failed a bit, but he tried his hardest, or the guy that wants to put us in World War III? The choice is there, but I mean, come on, there's one choice, you know? But when it gets to those two, it's like, well, do we want the guy that could possibly die when he goes to his victory party? Or the guy who ran America like a business instead of running it as a country?
And succeeded.
Well, okay, yes, he succeeded in what he did, but he didn't run it as a president. We were run like a business, and yes, as far as businesses go, he was successful. As far as government went, however... maybe a little. Well, gas was a good price back then.
Well, gas was a good price because of COVID too.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it was good back then. I'm trying. Go with me, Juggernaut. I'm trying to make this work. Okay, I'm just.
I know you're trying to.
I'm trying. It might not succeed, but I'm trying to. Well, didn't you say that Trump was one of the best presidents? Well, yes, he was one of our best elected officials. However, he wasn't a president. Well, here's the thing. He even told people straight up he was not going to be a president. He was going to run it like a business. He did not lie. He did run the country like a business. One of his businesses. How many times has he gone into bankruptcy? Throwing it out there, all right? I'm just saying, all right? Like, it's just something, you know? I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not against Trump. I'm like neutral with him. But Biden scares me, okay? But Biden is one bad day away from saying World War III against everybody. He got COVID twice in a row and still claims that these damn shots are the best things since sliced bread. Wait, there's movement.
I see movement.
We're moving. We're moving. I can see more. The sky looks beautiful now. It's bright. I see pants now. I see pants!
And he's still muted.
Does he realize that he's still going? Does he still... Sub, you're still live streaming. Can you hear us? Hi! Hi! How you doing, man?
Nice
Getting disrespected, you know, the usual.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
But no, it's alright. I missed most of the stream. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay, man. Hey, we all have our own problems. We were kind of watching the sunset.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took that away from you guys.
Nah, it's fine. We'd rather talk to you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We moved from spooks to UFOs. What are your feelings on UFOs?
What's an UFO?
A UFO.
UFO?
Yeah, UFO. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you believe there are aliens?
Yeah, there's no fucking aliens anywhere.
Would you like to be probed by an alien?
Sure, why not?
I'd probably pass. I prefer to be wooed and loved first. You know, if they're willing to put down the time, take me out to a few dinners, sweet talk me, I might be willing after that. But no, I'm gonna kick and scream.
Maybe pay you.
Maybe pay me for the experiment. No, I'm all game for it too. It's like this one guy. It was a long time ago. He fell asleep. When he woke up, he had a small piece of metal embedded in the back of his eye, and he claimed he got abducted by aliens because he saw a bright light, and then when he woke up, he had a pain in the back of his eye. And then it turns out a few years later that some little kid was walking outside his house with a flashlight and a BB gun and fired it by accident and caught him in the face with it. You know, it's one of those things like, okay, did you get abducted by an alien? Yes or no? Can you prove it? Yes or no? Do I believe there are aliens? I believe there are alien beings. I believe they wouldn't be dumb enough to come to this planet, though. Not for me.
I'm sure there's some that dumb down enough from here.
They came up to this planet, they're like, y'all stupid as hell. We ain't coming down there. We might lose brain cells. I think what we are is we're a giant alien stud farm. I think they show up and then they probe us because they get off on their jollies, you know? We're like a weird...
I'm willing to just learn that it's just like the Twilight Zone episode of Man.
I'm waiting to find out that they've been here the entire time. They're like, y'all just too crazy for us, all right? You ever notice that aliens only ever... What?
Maybe they want to dumb us down.
Yeah, there you go. They're going to turn us into pets one day.
Looks like I gotta walk a couple more blocks. I still fucking hear screaming.
Oh, you okay, man?
No.
Okay. Well, we're here for you, man.
One guy.
I've lived that life before. It's pretty tough.
It's fucking hell. It's hell.
So bye.
Just take it.
I'm about to just fucking leave my shit and just find somewhere else to live.
No.
Just fucking leave everything. Not give a fuck.
Let's not go that far, man.
No, I'm at that fucking point.
Well, we'll just make sure you're safe wherever you go, man, okay? You want me?
I might as well just live in.
Yeah, I'm 6
Maybe I'll hike up to you guys. Maybe I'll hike up to you, Kaiju. I could do it. I'd still have walking. I might pass out dehydrated halfway through it, but you know, I'll make it sometime.
Listen, there's pit stops along the way. You know, you could get water. Just be careful if you do something like that. Go find Juggernaut. He'll drive you.
Dude, you got my address.
Y'all just make sure you bring us a Nardone's pizza or something. We're starving up here. We don't get Farmer's Iced Tea and Nardone's up here. You guys gotta help us.
No promises.
Oh, police! Okay, we're good. They didn't stop here. All right. How about one more? Let's jump to another thing here. What about your feelings on like the whole cryptid thing? Like, do you believe any of those cryptids exist? Like Bigfoot or vampires?
I think it's all Photoshop. It's probably before, but we probably killed them all off.
That's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good question. Now, like I said,
I still think the Jersey Devil exists.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. You know, I think Chupacabra exists. I've seen some of the dogs down there. A lot of them look like chupacabras. The description of a chupacabra and some of the dogs I've seen down in Mexico look pretty close. Except they still wag their tails and come up to you, and they hate goats. I hate goats too. I like pygmy goats. I always wanted to get one of them pygmy goats, one of them little tiny ones that you have to buy. You have to buy little pajamas for. I always want to get one of those, but I'm afraid because they always like to climb to the tallest thing in the house, and I'm like 6'3". So I'm afraid I'd constantly get little hooves in my spine, like ow, dang, ow, ow. Okay, dang, Billy, stop.
And you would name it Billy.
Of course I would name him. He would be Billy Goat Gruff. Davison, Esquire, the third of Knoxville, Tennessee. Like, there's so many different cryptids they talk about. Like I said, the only cryptid that I can truly believe is still around, or at least I can kind of prove was a true creature, was dragons. Like, dragons, I can kind of prove that at one point they had to have existed, or at least a creature of a similar design had to have.
I mean, look at the Komodo dragon. How many creatures do you know that live with a fucking poisonous tongue inside their mouth?
This is true. They do have really nasty saliva. If that thing gets you, there is no cure. If you're lucky, you can take enough antibiotics. If you're lucky enough, you can get enough antibiotics to cure yourself, but what I mean is, like, hey, it's Sissy Poo. Hey, Sissy Poo. Turn on. Sissy Poo says hi.
Hi, Sissy Poo.
Subliminal Sissy Poo says hi. Like I said, like, with... Hey, you guys. Like I said, like, I can kind of prove that dragons might have existed at some point, but that's about the only cryptid. Like, I can't prove that Nessie ever existed. I can't prove that Sasquatch ever existed. There are several large gorilla species that could match a Sasquatch in at least the weight department, but they claim Sasquatch can be like 9 to 12 feet tall. Like, it's a big animal. It's not a small animal. Even a silverback on his back legs is 8 to 12 foot tall. They're not.
What's the tallest man in the world record right now? It's
like 9 foot 1 or something like that. And he married the shortest woman on record.
Here's my theory on the Sasquatch.
A very hairy tall man.
Mixed with that hair element that like covers your whole body.
I know. I can't remember what that's called right off the hand. They call it the werewolf syndrome, but I know what you're talking about. Well, I mean, that's possible. But, like,
that's my theory.
People have been claiming to see freaking Sasquatch from 1971 to current date. Like, there's new pictures being found and published every day about this thing. And from a scientific point of view, it cannot exist. Unless this thing is magical, it cannot exist. Like I said, like, I could understand maybe maybe like in India back in the day, a pack of gorillas going through the woods, and you don't know that they're gorillas. Okay, they kind of look like people who would be primeval.
According to the Guinness Book of World Records, tallest 8 foot 11.
8 foot 11? I thought it was 9'1". Okay, well, even 8 foot 11 is tall.
Yeah.
I mean that's recorded though.
Right. You know, that beats Vargo by freaking 8 inches. I mean, that's a big guy, though. I mean, big guy.
Mm-hmm.
But to have his hairy chest running around naked through the woods, I think people would notice. But still, I mean, like, Sub is right. A hairy person.
If the person was a mountain man and had all these furs on him,
then that could be an easy mistake.
Right.
But, like, some of the stories they have are like they pick up boulders and trees and hurl them through buildings, and like you think that'd be noticed. You know, you think somebody would report a tree getting hurled through their building. Or a boulder coming through the wall.
I hear what you're saying, but then again, if you look at the world's strongest men, they were able to fucking pull along fucking 2, 3 fire posts.
Well, right, and they're able to lift logs and throw them, right. But like I'm saying, like, when they report this and then the authorities show up, the authorities are like, well, this tree just fell on your house or something. Like, you'd think this would be a noticeable situation. You know, like, ma'am, this tree wasn't thrown. Its roots are still in the ground over here. It just fell. Well, Bigfoot pushed it over. And I'm pretty sure it rotted and fell over, or the wind pushed it over, you know? Vampires? Okay, I can understand that. I mean, cannibalism has been a big thing in humanity for, dear Lord, how long do you think? Since the starting series, you know? Think, like, Cro-Magnon did that kind of stuff?
Before anyone thought it was a thing.
Right. You know, in fact,
I mean, look how foot fetishes started. Foot fetishes started because the only thing you could see on a female back in the day was the ankle.
Right. And there are all kinds of different religious groups that believe that if you eat the heart of your enemy, you gain their soul and their power. I mean, is drinking blood really that far out of the question? And if you're turned on to that kind of thing...
I mean, I mean, especially since there was a queen that used to bathe in blood.
Yes, there was. So I'm like with vampires, kind of like it could have just been human habitation, you know. Though they have an aversion to sunlight. Well, if you spent your entire days hiding so people wouldn't see you drinking blood, you'd probably have trouble coming out in the sunshine too, huh? Just saying. Zombies, I mean, there are drugs that can turn you into a zombie. There are plants that can do it. That medicine that freaking Northeast put me on that turned me into a dang zombie, basically. You know, that kind of stuff. Like that, okay, that's understandable. But then they start talking about these things like, this is a 90-foot tall troll that hides in the woods. Do you have any idea how big 90 foot is? Like, a lot of houses nowadays don't reach 90 foot tall. And you're telling me...
Let me ask you this. What's the tallest skyscraper we've had built? Measure out to be.
It's serious.
Well, isn't that like a quarter of a mile tall or something like that?
I think so. I'm not sure.
It's like maybe a quarter of a mile to half a mile tall, somewhere in between there. It's a big tower, but that's it.
I'm just using that as an example of...
Oh, right.
You know, I think everything.
Right. But like the one story I was reading was this one guy, he was a troll hunter, and he was tracking down a 90-foot tall troll through a birch forest. And I'm like, first of all...
And he couldn't find it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly. It's like, oh, they're tricky creatures. They can walk on top of the trees without bending them. A 90-foot creature is not lightweight enough to do that. There would be a footprint somewhere. This is not a small creature. You know, it's big.
And even technically, a 90-foot troll is kind of an oxymoron.
Well, not really an oxymoron, but like, just think about it, okay? It's a 90-foot tall creature, okay? Elephants sometimes, maximum size here, reach 16 to 20 foot to the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
They leave big-ass footprints, all right? Now take that animal at full height and times it by almost 5 times the size, all right? This thing would be leaving craters in the ground. And to hide in a birch forest? Jared, you've seen me push birch trees over.
Yeah.
And I'm not 90 foot tall. This thing would have left a swath through the forest it couldn't have hidden. But this is what we get. This is what we get, you know? Certain cryptids, okay, I can understand them being hard to prove or disprove because they're smaller things. Like that little troll that just ran past me. Did anyone catch that? Catch that little thing? You know, it'll come through again. It does this nightly, especially when I'm recording. Especially when I'm live streaming and his mother tells him go to bed and he's still not asleep. Gotta love it. But, like, werewolves, for instance. They come out during the full moon. Okay, but isn't the full moon just the sun beaming off the moon? Wouldn't that mean if they walked out in the daytime?
They'd be transformed all the time.
Right, because they'd step outside during the sunlight, they transform. Same thing with vampires. They can't be out in the sunlight, they'll burn. They only come out during when the moon is full. It's the sun's light. The moon is not a light bulb. There's no go click click. Haha, moon go click click. Now that's why they say if you're out fishing at night, you should use like an SPF 30 through 50 because you can still get what's called a moon burn. I've never had it happen personally, and I think it would be one of the coolest things to have happen. I think when
you can also go moonblind, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. It's like okay, so this is a werewolf, huh? Yeah. Well, how does he hide during the daytime? What do you mean? Well, the sunlight is the moonlight. It doesn't change. It's still there. Well, when the moon goes behind the clouds, it's radiation. Even when it's behind the cloud, it's still technically there. And who chose silver as a weapon to fight them with? It's better than gold.
Maybe werewolf spreading lies about itself.
Yeah, there you go. The best moment I ever...
Which makes me wonder, can a werewolf get fillings?
Oh yeah, what if a werewolf has to get a silver filling? All day.
Hey,
My favorite werewolf moment was, it's no longer on the website, but I'm sure if you looked hard enough you could find it. Was the Fear, was it Fear Factor? Or that show where they tried to scare people? It was on Sci-Fi. It wasn't
Fear Factor. Fear Factor is the competition where you try to face your fears to win money.
Okay, no,
that would be Scare Tactics.
Okay. Back in the day, before they had to reboot Scare Tactics again, they had a Marine come home from overseas. He had shell shock, so his friends didn't believe all the stories, so they decided to put him in the back seat. They drove out to this location. This werewolf comes, breaks through the window. Now, everyone knows the werewolf's just some guy in a suit. But drags one friend out. Blood hits the windshield. The guy reaches underneath the seat, grabs a crowbar, busts out the door, and nearly beats the guy in the costume to death with a crowbar. That's a werewolf. It was begging him to stop. It's like, you can't kill a werewolf without silver. Yeah, but I can make it wish I did kill it. You know, this is a Vulcan minigun. This thing fires about 12,000 rounds per minute. If you're on the other end of it and I pull the trigger and light you up, oh yeah, you might heal, but you're not gonna want to. What if you get caught in an area where I'm holding you over a trap that's constantly a buzzsaw right to your nuts? It's just got to keep regenerating. Like after a while, you're not going to come back no more. I'm just saying, you know. Leprechauns and gremlins, okay, I can understand them. Why? Because they're smaller. It makes sense that a large group of them would be able to exist. A 90-foot troll is something that I think I would notice. Especially since a creature that big would have to be eating an awful lot of meat and vegetation to be able to survive. I'm pretty sure when 3 farmers worth of livestock goes missing, they're going to get a little curious.
Yeah.
What about demons? What about demons? You just don't fuck with them. This demon owns this house, yeah? Well, after a few artillery barrages, there won't be anything left.
Come on, look at our joke. We always said that.
Oh, yeah. Get out. All right. Now we just come back to grid square locations as follows. Just frickin' artillery barrage the entire house. There'd be nothing left. Incoming incendiary strike and just burn the remains with frickin' fire, you know. And as it's screaming, why? Like, because you were an asshole and you were mean to me.
Get out. Okay.
You
Come
didn't
back with gasoline and matches. What's that smell?
You didn't say, please, motherfucker, I'm burning this place. And then the best time I saw it was I was watching the animated Addams Family movie. The one that they were looking for a place to live in the United States, and they found the Amityville house. It's like, get out. I'm like, it's perfect. And then I started getting mad, so she poured a bunch of freaking coffee down one of the pipes. It's like, oh, thank you, I needed that. Speaking of the Addams Family, since I'm derailing the train real quick, you know the guy that plays Lurch in the original Addams Family? Do you know that he wasn't supposed to even be on the show? He was actually a piano repairman who came to fix it, and because of how he stood and everything, like he was all stiff and everything, the guy who played Gomez Addams asked him if he wanted a job. He said, I have one. I fix pianos. He goes, can you play them? He goes, sure. And he plays them. He goes, how'd you like to be on the show? Mr. Yu rang, and he was a piano repairman. That's what his job was originally. And they got him on for like 7 seasons. And you know what he did afterwards? He went back to fixing pianos.
Ted Cassidy.
Meanwhile, Gomez became M. Bison somehow. I'm still trying to figure that one out. On that day, the most important thing of your life ever happened. But for me, it was a Wednesday. I see what you did there. Name of your daughter. Name drop. I see what you're doing there. But yeah, going, trying to drag myself back to the subject here. I'm crippled at this point because the train ran me over.
I got one more. I got one more.
I fell!
My favorite part of Addams Family Values was at the camp. I'm afraid we cannot break bread with you. And she just goes to that serious tone.
And suddenly we're going to scalp you, Mindy. What? Ah! You know what the very best part was? The kid's name Pubert. Like everyone thought it was so funny. Did you know that was actually a well-known name back in England back in the day? Pubert used to be a common name back in the day. It was common like freaking like Harold and Herman and things like that. It was common back then. Like, oh my God, Pubert was actually a name. I thought they made that up.
Get back on the tracks.
All right. Well, I'm already on the tracks. I'm just like I'm pulling myself with one arm now. Just been derailed so much. I'm just pulling with one arm now. Yeah. People have been talking about like, oh, we see angels in the sky all the time now. Tell the planes about that. Warn them. No offense, but I'm pretty sure an angel going through an engine is still going to cause as much damage as a pigeon. It's still going to be a bad day. Yeah, and I'm not trying to insult religious types here. Okay, I don't insult them. It's just like when I questioned a pastor on a bunch of this, and he was like, I don't know. He's a good guy. He accepted me for my religion because my grandmother made me go to the church while I was living with them. And he would just like call me out sometimes just to be a joke. He just call me out, so I'd call him back out. You know, we had a good relationship, me and him, and I respect him. You know, he didn't call me a heathen or call me dirt or anything like that. He's like, well, you have your belief, I have mine, but your grandmother wants you to come here, so I accept that and I appreciate that. Maybe we can turn you one day. Anyway, long story short, I questioned him about one of the later parts of the Bible, where they're talking about the retribution, where the angels in their bronze vests and flaming swords will come down to do battle with the pitchfork-wielding demons, and the 13-headed beast will come out of the ground, and no arrow can pierce the breastplate of the angels. I'm like, yeah, but that was back in the day when bows and arrows were like the most severe thing nowadays, you know? He's like, what do you mean? I go, well, we got like 50 caliber light machine guns, and like we got rocket launchers, jet fighters. I mean, not for nothing, you know. A bunch of demons with pitchforks come running at us, and no sword can pierce their hide. But what about a Gatling gun? And he just looked at him. He goes, he's like, I'm gonna come to your house when this goes down. I'm like, there you go, man. Just saying, you know. That 13-headed beast looks real dangerous until a freaking mother of all bombs lands right in the center of it.
Yes.
Next thing you know, that 13-headed beast shows up. Next thing you know, a giant mech comes down.
Yeah, you know what? Just to change subjects real quick again. That damn mech that they have in Japan that comes out every morning to salute the rising sun, then turns around and goes back in. You think that thing isn't really armed? It's a 45-foot-tall Gundam. You telling me that thing doesn't have weaponry on that? That thing is armed, okay? That 13-headed beast comes out and it just freaking pulls out a beam saber and a beam rifle and just goes to battle with it. I'm like, oh!
They're just still working on making it so the moves move properly. That way they're ready when they need to use it.
It's right. That's just the prototype up there. Godzilla's gonna show up and a fucking dozen of them are gonna burst out of the ground.
Freaking, oh my God! It's Fallout.
No! Where can I find the Rat Slayer and the Chinese stealth armor?
No, think about it.
I am.
With the giant.
I know what you're talking about. Why do you think I'm trying to find those weapons? I've seen how that game ends. I've seen what happens to the planet. I want to be prepared. Yeah, he's right, though. They're just fixing out the kinks. One of these days it's going to click its heels and just jets are going to take it into the sky. And then all those people that made fun of Gundam for being a TV show, a cartoon, they're going to be like, holy crap, it's coming at us. Like, I told you not to make fun of them. They're going to target anyone who's never watched an anime. They got a lot of targets. Better start watching anime, folks. Oh, man. Oh, crap, we derailed. Where were we? Does anyone remember the original topic?
UFOs.
What? Oh, thank you.
UFOs and cryptids.
Thank you. Oh, at least one of us is paying attention. At least one of us is paying attention.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gotta pay attention to this and hope that somebody hits you.
I don't let anybody hit you.
Well, it almost happened.
Well, please don't let it happen. Unfortunately, while Jared is
Right.
closer, I'm 6 hours away. I can't get to you as quickly as Juggernaut can.
No, I don't want to have more people to save me.
Oh, don't be like that, man, please. Okay, here's another
I'm
thing.
sorry.
What about all those secret societies we constantly hear about? Like the Illuminati. That are supposed to be...
Stoneballs, Illuminati.
Stonecutters.
The White Knights are, everyone knows about them.
Stonecutters, the...
You mean the Masons?
Freemasons.
Freemasons, yeah. I mean, like, all these different groups. Stonecutters are an offshoot of the Freemasons. All these different groups that have all these secret agendas. And no one knows anything about them, and no one finds that just the least bit odd. Like, we know that the freaking...
Well, I mean,
we know that they exist.
shit.
I know, but I mean, just think about it, like, what if these guys are literally pulling all these different strings in the United States or something? Well, I'll tell you one thing. First of all, as a fellow puppet master, I salute every one of you. I, too, enjoy sitting back in the shadows and dancing my strings and watching the puppets dance. I do. I've never been the guy for the outward conflict. I'm the guy that has people do it for me. To quote a phrase from Dragon Ball Z The Abridged, oh, I don't get angry. I have people to do that for me.
Actually, some people have actually tried recruiting me for Illuminati and shit.
Well, why didn't you accept it? Ah!
I don't know. I should have really, but I don't know.
Oh, well, wait a minute.
I thought it would be too much fucking issues. I thought there might be too many issues, in all honesty, if I joined.
Juggernaut, what if he actually is a member of the Illuminati and he's just trying to throw us off the trail?
Listen, I'm not double speaking here.
Say it here, just throwing it out there. I trust him, but you know, people try to get me for the Illuminati. It's like, wait a minute. This starts to explain things.
Somebody actually taught me how to do the Freemason.
Oh crap! Here we go. Here we go. It's.
Well, the haircut says enough.
Mama Bear!
What?
I'm trying not to have us killed by an Illuminati member here, really.
Listen, to be honest, you have to be important enough for them to kill us. Not sounding like a dick, but they only go after celebrities and, you know, top dogs that people actually believe. As long as people don't believe what we say, we're good.
Big Brother is watching. Please be watching, Big Brother. That's another thing that got me. Like back in I think it was like the 1990s or something. They started doing that whole Big Brother is watching. The government is always watching you. If they were, do you think half the things that are happening would happen? I'm just saying. If the government wanted
I'm still wondering about the whole Georgia guy stuff then.
Oh?
Well, listen, if they took care of everything and made it so that nobody was dying or getting ill or anything like that, then there would be, the population would be overcrowded and overpopulated. So instead of doing that, they'll just let the population take care of itself.
I'm not talking about that.
It's just called population control.
I'm talking, why would they let Biden in office?
As long as they do what they want, they're not going to get killed or anything.
Biden can barely remember which shoe he put on his hand this morning.
Oh, me?
Biden!
Well, that's the easiest person to manipulate. Think about it.
I know, but I'm like, he was sitting on stage one time and he's like, this is a good day. Usually I get pulled by now. I guess he was saying it to himself and didn't realize the microphone was on. And then you see these two agents come out and grab him by the shoulders real quick and pull him off. It's like, oh my God! Oh my God! Usually when I start talking weird like that, they pull me. It's been a good day so far. Wait, is this thing on? Oh, I'm getting pulled now. It's just like, what just happened here? And then like the screen cuts, it's blanks out. It's like, oh.
Oh, Big Brother's taking them.
That was Skynet this time. There it is.
Big Brother.
Ah, he's talking
Still
now.
here?
You are now. You went missing for a few seconds.
Back.
You are back, kind of, sort of, yeah.
Okay. Like, microphone.
He get auto-tuned. Are we sure? It might not be Skynet. It might just be a Korean pop band. He'd be great in the Korean pop band, Subliminal. I'm not joking. I've seen him sing and I've seen him bust in movies. He's actually pretty good at both. Seriously, he'd be the one white guy with a bunch of Koreans, and he'd be the one that all the women in Korea would be all over. That's a big stereotype over there, yes. Oh, Caucasian men in Korea are supposedly very hot. If he could get part of a K-pop band, they'd be all over him for his Fabio hair.
Well, listen, that's a stereotype in every country. There's a stereotype where foreign women love virgin men from America.
Well, that's just so they can get married and come to America. Just kidding. That's a stereotype as well.
Probably. After all, there is that stereotype where the person that you lose it to is the one you fall deeply madly in love with.
Oh, there's a member of the Modemsters whose name will not be brought up who actually believed that. I'm not giving out names, but believed that and got hurt because of it. Got hurt real bad because of it. Anyways, long story short, it's 9 o'clock-ish, so I'm going to vanish. Jug, I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. I'll message you as soon as I can. Sub, I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. I'll message you as soon as I can. Sub, in case you weren't aware, we're doing when we find out a good time next week, we're doing a live stream on Nerf weapons. If you were to go and have a Nerf war, what would be the Nerf weapons you'd want? So that should be a fun video. When we have a time and date, I'll get back to you. Just, you gotta think, like, what kind of Nerf weapons would you want? And not just Nerf itself, but like that whole Nerf idea, you know, the foam weapons idea. So I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. But until next time, folks, I'm Kaiju K.
I'm Juggernaut.
I'm Subliminal.
And I'm Mama Bear.
And for the other monsters of gaming, have yourselves a great night. We'll see you in the future, and peace out, everyone.